Hey y'all, this is my mentor, Paige Siemers.
That sounds so funny to say.
And she has been my mentor for over 10 years now, so for over a decade. And I have gone to her, started out just basic medical questions. Which doctor would you recommend? What diapers are you using? Et cetera, et cetera. And now we still talk about the medical stuff, but we also talk about life stuff too. So, Paige, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel like the mentorship has turned into so much more than and I don't really know the definition of mentorship, but it just has turned into this lifelong friend
Yeah.
that I know um no matter what happens, we're going to be there for each other.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's where it's kind of evolved into.
When Paige and I first met and were connected, it was a little different than it is today. So let's talk a little bit about the beginning and getting to know each other, Paige. How does it feel initially when I was like asking for support, for help, questions, information, wisdom, knowledge? How does it feel for the mom that's mentoring?
Um, so we met on this beautiful like Facebook group that is just for moms of, kids with disabilities. And that environment really created, I feel like, a great ground
Yeah.
for that mentorship that we can, feed into each other. And so it was very natural at first to have those questions. And then I think you started to message me like outside of that group, like in the instant messenger sort of a
Mhm.
thing. And I just was like, oh, well, yeah, I've been doing this. Her kid is much younger than my kid. Totally makes sense. I remember doing this with moms that were, further along in their journey than I was. And so it just felt very natural at first to start there with concrete things like, again, what supplies do you use? What doctor do you use for this? Why do you use this? What are you feeding your kid? How are you feeding your kid?
Yeah, totally. I love that. And then it's kind of morphed into more. Um, I didn't realize that I pursued you as my mentor. I didn't realize that, but I believe it. It's so true. I didn't know that. That's good stuff. I think for me, having a mentor, because I'm the mentee in this relationship, um, is having someone, like Paige said, to always call, like when I need it. And I know that she will answer. I know that she has my back. I know that she supports me. I know she understands my day to day life, and so and understands like my humanness in that part of it. And so I don't have to be on my best for Paige. I think in the beginning it was kind of ease in as we were getting to know each other, but now I can call Paige crying and she will listen, and then I usually feel better by the time we hang up. So
Yeah, I think as the mentor, I do believe that it if you allow it, if you have that kind of space in your life, um, you have to be a great listener if you want it to evolve. And you know, like Sarah said, we have been with each other in each other's lives for 10 years, and we've gone through things together
life
because it
events, right?
yes, life events, hard things, good things, and to be honest, she has fed into me as well. I was going on a health journey and I had a really, really big, um, like halt in my life, and I was like, "Whoa, I am not where I need to be." And I saw Sarah pursuing some healthy habits, and I was like, hey, knock, knock, I need you to
Yeah.
give me your knowledge on this. And how do I do that? Having the life that I have that's so similar to yours.
Yeah.
And that was a huge and when I started that journey, my daughter was having major medical problems and I had to go out of town um to California to get help for her and she was like, "Okay, listen. Here's the thing. You can still do this, but you also have to give yourself grace."
Yeah.
And so that grace is mutual. It's
Yeah,
very,
I love
very
that. I feel
mutual.
that way too. Yeah. I have a few mamas that I am a mentor to, kind of the way you are a mentor for me. And I find that they give back to me a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, more than I was even expecting. And I think in the beginning, when I took on these new mamas, I have a therapist that sends me mamas. So that's her thing. She's like, "Hey, I have another mama for you," which is great. And I love it. And I want to help in whatever way I can. But in the beginning, it's kind of like, oh goodness, what do they want? What do they need? How, am I qualified? Kind of, questions. But really, it was easy stuff. It was stuff that I've been there, done that, and I have the knowledge and wisdom. And so I find like when you have the right pair in that respect, I can give to them my knowledge and wisdom, and then they can give back to me whatever their knowledge and wisdom is in whatever area of their life that they've picked it up. So it definitely has gone both ways for me too. I love that.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Um, when I think of the people who fed into me, like they're such an important part of my story of being able to show up today. And I
Right.
still think about some of the things that they said, just and a lot of this happens over the phone. A lot of it happens in the car on the way to therapy.
Hmm.
It happens, it's not like we have this lunch date that we show up for and that kind of thing. I mean, it happens via text. Um,
Yeah.
so if people are afraid a little bit, they're like, man, my life is so packed and so overloaded. I don't know how I'm going to make time either to be a mentor or to be mentored.
Hmm.
Um, I really, really would ask you to think about this is not something formal. It's just like where we
Right. There's
are.
no rules. And I think that's the cool part. And because you are being matched with another mama like you who lives that life, it's like, I mean, we're texting all the time. Sometimes we're playing phone tag, but there's no formality in the sense of like we have to do this or we're meeting regularly or I have to talk to her. It's just kind of like when the need arises. And then sometimes Paige will text me first with something else or random, and then we'll start talking. And so, yeah, I think that from a time standpoint, it's not going to take more time. It's actually going to help with your time because it's going to simplify things that you're trying to do that someone's already figured out. And so you don't have to figure that out. They've already done it for you. And so you just accept it and say thank you and keep going. And so um, there's no extra time for it. Yeah, I like that you said that. And I also was kind of thinking about the newer moms. There's a lot of overwhelm involved with the new mom thing, and you don't know what you're doing. Like you don't. No one does. You're learning as you go, and so I think like if there's any fear about that, about not being seen as a good mom or not being seen as the mom who has all the answers, that's not a thing in our community. Because I think if you've been in our community long enough, you realize that none of us have the answers. We have an idea, we have a plan, we have guidance and wisdom from people, professionals, mentors, but we don't have a plan, and so you don't need to worry about not knowing or not coming off as like someone who's got this, right?
I agree. And I was gonna say, Sarah, I know that I mean, When I had my daughter 23 years ago, there was not the, social media optics
Mhm.
that I think number 1, I think a lot of times we're in our heads a lot, and a mentor can help you make sense of the things that you're thinking about and make you feel normal about them. They
Yeah.
can calm, the anxiousness, like you're talking about, of, "I'm supposed to know this. I feel like I'm failing. I don't know. Why do I not know? Other moms know. I see them doing this, or I see them doing this. Why, what is it?" And so that mentor can help you kind of pull out what is real and what is just some untruth that's happening in
Right.
your head.
What's noise? Yeah.
Yeah. And then also the pressure that I think some people feel via social media, via whatever. Maybe it's your circle of family or friends that just doesn't understand your experience,
Mhm.
especially when you're young, especially if you're the first one in your family to have a
Yeah.
kid with some challenges, a kid with some medical complexities. Um, Having that mentor, can also help you kind of pull yourself away from that, because we are not widely represented on the social media, I don't think,
No, we're
depending
not.
on who you follow and whatever.
Yeah.
But still, some of those influencer people who are families of kids with disabilities, y'all, they have got a lot of help. They have got
Yeah, they
so
have
much
a
help.
lot of help, and then a lot of them are focused on doom and gloom or focused on maybe I mean, I think the idea is advocating for our kids to show people what our life is like, but, a lot of times, or at least for me, I come off with, like, not a better feeling about my life or not, like, ready to go and I can do this. And so I think that this is something different where, you will be encouraged, you will be supported, you will be spoken life and truth and love into you. That's kind of what we're trying to create is, a safe space for people to connect, but then also, yeah, be supported and be encouraged. And this life is hard enough, and so if you have someone who's cheering you on, it just makes a big difference.
Oh,
Some days
it makes
I
a
just have
huge
to call
difference.
my friend Kelly and say, "This is hard, right?" And she'll say, "Yeah, no, that's real hard." I'm like, "Thank you. That's what I thought." So,
And
yeah.
sometimes I think you have to ask your mentor or your mentee, like, what do you need?
Yeah.
What is it, what can I do or what can I say? There have been times, like I remember recently, Sarah um shouted out in our Facebook group, "Hey, I need a new feeding tube for my kid. I got a bad one, and Mary Elizabeth is not going to eat
That's
unless
right. It was an
I
emergency. Yeah.
I get this tube." And I knew, and she said which one she needed, and I immediately texted her and I was like, "Come to my house or whatever." I don't think I could meet you that day, but anyway, "Come to my house and I will hand it over to you." Like, no big deal, and that was, I think everybody came over in their jammies and
No, we came first thing because I couldn't feed her, so she hadn't
yes.
eaten. And so, like, we woke up, got in the car, and headed to Katie, to Paige's house to get a button. Yeah.
And didn't come inside, like, it was just a quick, like, curbside situation.
Yes, so good. Yeah.
And so sometimes it's that, and then sometimes it is, I'm having a horrible, horrible day, and I feel like the world is falling in on me, and I need you to tell me that it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's the logistical stuff, and then it's the I'm here for you. You're going to be okay. You can keep going. You've got this. Go. Yeah, that's good. Um, for so our Houston group does have a Facebook group that is highly helpful and is kind and encouraging and moves fast. There's lots of posts and there's lots of support. What do you think would make this different than that? Like, what does it feel like? What you and I do together versus what we do in a social media group? What makes this different, in your opinion?
Um, I think what makes a mentorship like you and I have that's different would be, oh, gosh, I think a lot of it has to do with I 100% feel safe telling you, and I hope you do with me, just about every aspect of my life.
Yeah, you know it all. Yeah.
And social media is I'm gonna be honest, I mean, even in that closed group, that is a boundary that I'm not willing to cross because I don't personally know everyone in that group. Um, I stick to questions about equipment, about referrals, about sometimes if I'm having a hard day,
Mhm.
I stick to like general encouragement. Like I
Mhm.
remember being a single mom on Mother's Day, and
Yeah.
I know that sometimes, like, when God lays that on my heart, like on Mother's Day, I try to say, "Hey, I see you," you know, I say that in that group,
Mhm.
but then I'm also going to, on top of it, possibly if I'm a mentor, I don't know that I've ever done this to you, Sarah, but I should have, um, you know, say to Sarah in an individual text, "Hey, what are you doing today?
Yeah.
How are you going to celebrate yourself? Or how are your kids celebrating you on this Mother's Day?" Because
Yeah.
that's a really vulnerable piece. I mean, that's really vulnerable. And so for those more vulnerable moments, I think that's where the mentorship goes beyond a Facebook group. And even though it's a closed Facebook group, it goes
Mhm.
beyond that.
Yeah. No, I like that. That's so true. And you have, by the way, you do and have. Yeah.
Oh,
We
I'm
had a
glad.
whole conversation about it. One of my first single Mother's Days. So that's yeah, I know. Okay, let's think. What else are we missing? Anything that we didn't talk about that you think people would want to hear? I feel like we've done good. Like really
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like why people wouldn't want to do
good. Right.
it and to
Yeah.
hit those places.
Mhm.
Thinking of it, I think we've covered like it's not a burden, it's
Mhm.
not a time burden.
Right.
Um,
You don't have to be embarrassed or shy or whatever. We've covered that. We've covered the types of things that we talk about with our mentor. I feel like we did it already. We did it. That was good. Yay. Whoop whoop.
oh, you know the other thing, and you'll probably cover this with someone else. I think it helps that you and I have daughters that present similarly. So
Mhm.
the connection with that is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if it would be different if Mary Elizabeth did not have CP. I don't know. So I don't know if that's something that people worry about. I think it would be a cool way to connect people.
Yeah.
But I also think just the person that you are.
Yeah, I think that so we're going to connect people in a lot of different ways. And so we're definitely going to be looking at the person that they're caring for and looking
Mhm.
for similarities in the person that you're loving and caring for. But then, yeah, we're also going to be looking at interests and likes and geographic locations and um, wants and wish lists and things that you need help in someone's expertise area. And so we're going to do a lot of different things. But I have a couple of mentees, two of them that I can think of here in Houston, whose kiddos are boys and have totally different diagnoses than Mary Elizabeth. And it's worked. Like it's really worked. Not that we don't have the same amount in common as you and I do as far as like
Mhm.
kids stuff, but in this world, like we're all seeing physical therapists, occupational therapists, neurology, cardiology, like we're all seeing the same ones. So there's a lot of medical overlap. Um, but then there's some, differences as well. And so I do think that the match, um, the mamas matter, you know,
Sure,
like who you're
sure.
matching together. And so we're going to be real thoughtful about that. And
And
I
I
also,
think maybe cover too, like maybe you're matched with someone and it doesn't work.
yes, yeah. And
That's
so
okay. That's
it's
okay.
okay, right, and then we'll just try again, and I think that that happens out in the real world too. You're around people and you're like, "Ah, that's not really for me," and so, yeah, and there'll be no hard feelings about that because, we don't do that around here. We don't have time for that, like, it's just, so yeah, if you are initially matched with someone and it doesn't quite feel right, you just let us know and we'll match you again. And yeah, and maybe second and third time's a charm, who knows? But this is important stuff. This is serious stuff. Um, and we're trying to make lifelong friends and lifelong support for people, friends who are family kind of thing. And so if we don't get it right on the first time, then we'll get it right the next time for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I also think that sometimes I think a good like someone who's a good mentor is a great listener and a great question asker, and then sometimes challenges us a little bit. Like not challenges, it's not the boss of you, um, but challenges you in a way of, hey, have you thought of doing this? And
Hmm.
maybe your mentee is not ready yet. An example of this is when Sarah took a hot minute to get Mary Elizabeth involved in racing with Ainsley's Angels.
A hot minute is years, y'all. Keep going.
I asked her several times and she was like, no way. I am not sending my kid out with some random runner to go anywhere. No way. And
Yeah.
then I just was patient and I just kept asking.
Mhm.
I just kept asking. And so um, and maybe your mentee is not going to be ready for that, ever. Or
Right.
maybe they are. Maybe, you just keep presenting it if it just continues to come up for you.
Mhm.
And then once she felt like she was in a good place to do it, it like changed her life and changed Mary Elizabeth's life.
Yeah.
And that was
That's so
that was
true.
such
Yeah.
a rewarding moment for me. Not because I'm like, yeah, she finally did it. But I was a little bit like, okay, she was ready for it though.
And she got it. Right. Yeah. And I finally got it. Right. Yeah. That was so good. And I love that you were patient with me for that. I like a hot minute. That's funny.
Of course. Of course. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm on down the line in this, I think Mary Elizabeth is, well, she's a little bit older than Anna when Anna started, but not that much.
Yeah.
Really, honestly. And I don't know if when she was tiny, like Mary Elizabeth was when I started asking you to do that, that I would have allowed Anna to do it either.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and it is I wasn't ready, but like you knew that and respected that, but continued to plant the seed for me and continued to offer it, and so I think that's really important for the mentors and the mentors that we're going to pick for this program are going to be like Paige, guys. So we're not going to just put random people into mentorship roles. We're going to be very thoughtful about who we're who we're picking and who we're pairing them with so that they do have that. It's really intuition. I mean, that's what I want to say it is this intuition of like, this is what she needs, this is what would be helpful, and you're kind of offering it and then waiting and seeing. Yeah, I like that a
And
lot.
I feel like the person has to have some really great empathy skills, to try to feel what the mentee is going through. I don't know if the person's going to have, the mentor is going to have a kid that's further along or whatever, but just taking yourself back to that time when you had your baby or got that diagnosis. Like, what did that feel like for you? And who did you want to be? Who did you want to be? Or what person would you want to be there for you?
Yeah.
And that sometimes is hard. It's really
Yeah.
hard. It's very vulnerable
It's
to go
very
in.
vulnerable. Yeah, it really is. And for the mentor moms, like sometimes they're 20 years out. And so it is very vulnerable to go back to those moments in the beginning, and put yourself back there so that you can empathize with your new mentee. Yeah, that's really important. I was on a podcast the other day and we were talking about something that I hadn't thought about in like almost 15 years. Mary Elizabeth will be 15, and it brought me back there and I got so emotional and I wasn't expecting it, but it was good. I mean, it was good to remember those emotions so that I could be very empathetic, but then also it was good to remember so that I know how far I've come, and how much progress, like how much growth Mary Elizabeth and I have made as a team. And so that part is really cool. And I think for the mentor moms, that's going to be an unexpected surprise gift in this whole process, is that it's going to put you in places that you haven't thought about in a while and then give you that oversight to be grateful for for where we are right now. So yeah, and to be a mentor mom, that's the other thing, is you don't have to be a star, right? Like, so um we're not talking about performative superstar type stuff. We're talking about the mom who's in the trenches day to day with their loved one, and who has just learned along the way. Yeah, so we really want the mamas that are most like everybody else, the most normal mamas that we can find. Yeah, and dads too. Someone said that we should do dads, and so we are going to match
Wow.
dads with other dads, which I think is unheard. Like, I don't know if this even exists, so I think that part's cool, and I'm interested to see like if dads sign up, because they are coming into our world a lot more frequently now, which I really appreciate and I like. And so yeah, we're gonna let them be part of the mentorship process too. Yeah, it's good.
That's beautiful. I hadn't thought about that, but yes, they need mentorship too.
Yeah, they really do. So okay. All right. I think we're good, girl.
I
Thank
think
you.
we're good.
That was so good. Yeah,
So, so proud of you.
thank you.
I just see, and I'm gonna like get choked up.
I almost cried twice already during this conversation. I don't know what that's about, but keep going.
Um, I just I just see you so comfortable in this environment, and what you're doing. And um I see an empowerment in you
Good.
that I haven't, because I've watched you walk through some of the hardest shit,
Yeah.
um, and the most hurtful, and things that have, really just cut deep into
Yeah.
um, who someone wanted to paint you as. And
Yeah.
and because I care about you so much and I see what an amazing, amazing mom that you are. Tears are coming down my face too.
Yeah.
Um, I just it's really beautiful to see you pouring into other people's lives and reminding them of the truth of who they are.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I feel like you have done that for me so often. And I know that that wasn't planned initially. And I forgot that I pursued you. I was like, God, I just got her myself. I just know I must have known that I needed you, you know.
And I needed you,
But
you know?
I have, I feel like, and I don't want to be cliche about this, but I feel like, I have good friends. I have good support system. I have built community the best I know how to. But I feel like a lot of the days whenever I called you in distress and needed someone to speak truth and light and love into me, um, it's like I couldn't have received it from anybody else that day, if that makes sense. Because I needed someone to also understand, the world that I live in and the things that I'm trying to do on a to day basis and like what my goals are and what my priorities are. And so that was like, it's just been so healing for me, like in a really good way. And it has given me the strength and energy in a lot of ways to like keep going, like we were talking about earlier. And so that's huge. And there's not words to like really even describe it. Like I could say you changed my life, but like I mean that's yes. But I don't know if that's
Well,
enough. Yeah.
I for me, having you, say those things just is, a reminder that all of the hard things that I've been through, um, I use this phrase a lot, like beauty from ashes, because the dreams that I think that we have as moms of kids with disabilities that you don't know, those dreams kind of burn down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and you
The
have
grief
to burn
is
them
the
down.
painful. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to burn them down. You have to let them burn down, um, to be able to see the beauty beyond them. And I mean, being Anna's mom is one of the greatest gifts of my life, and she has shown me beauty in so many ways. And just like Mary Elizabeth, I know that you and I talk about that. The girls just they bring out the best in people. And um, not that a typically developing kid couldn't have done that, but it's just a very different thing. It's just a
Yeah.
very different way. And so
Yeah.
that beauty from the ashes thing is a real deal. And
So real. Yeah. It's so true. And I think for you taught me, I will say this, you taught me how to like this life, if that makes sense. Because when I met you, I was not liking it very much. I was doing it well. I looked like a fucking superstar.
you do.
But
You do.
I hated my life. I hated myself. I didn't hate Mary Elizabeth, but I hated cerebral palsy. Like I just hated the situation that I found myself in. And I just was caught in that victim mode of like, this is so unfair. And all of that was going on behind the scenes, mind you, because I was shining, I was the superstar.
You're a hustler. Yeah.
And it was this relationship that allowed me to open up and say, you know what? Like, this is horrible and I hate it. And I don't want to keep doing it. And you were like, I know. And that was it. And it was just kind of like, what? And it was like permission to to say the things out loud that if I said them in the general population, people would think I was a bad mom or a bad person or that I wasn't grateful or, that and so it's really, that piece for me was it just affirmed like the normal process of what we're going through as moms, um, and families in this particular, situation. Yeah. And once I accepted that of like, okay, this does suck. I can say that out loud and I can own that. It changed everything. And I don't know why, but it just changed. And then I was like, okay, if this is it and I can't change it and I can't control it and I can keep doing all the things and keep hustling, which I still do a lot of that. Um, but where's the good, like what's in this for me is kind of what I was trying to figure out, 4 or 5 or 6 years in. And you kind of showed me, hey, this is it. It's this relationship, it's this love, it's these moments, it's this connection, it's this depth, it's changing your perception of the world and how you look at people. It changes your heart. I don't even like, I don't know if there's anything else that would change your heart this way. Like, I can't imagine it. But it has, completely changed all of that. And I wouldn't have got there to where I am now without your guidance and support and love and humor in a lot of ways. So, because we've done a lot of laughing too, y'all. We do crying, but we also do a lot of laughing.
Uh, I mean, sometimes it's just more convenient to laugh because if you cry, you got to redo all the things.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So sometimes it is like, I need you to tell me something that's going to make me laugh, or help me find the joy in this.
Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So, but that is what I learned from you is like, and Brittany and I do it today, and we do it with all, like, because we set the tone for how people are going to treat our kids, and
Yep.
by how we treat them. So we set the vibe, right? So if I'm aggravated, or if I think it's a burden and I'm just like always put out, then other people are going to feel that way about my kid too. And so we always try to, like, have a fun Friday atmosphere all the time of like, nothing to see here, we're just throwing up and having a seizure. Like, we'll get over it, it'll be fine. But you're the one who kind of taught me to inject that humor into the day-to-day, like, hard parts of life, and now we have the best time with poo and throw up. Like, we never like, I could talk about it all day long, and it's like exciting. So yeah, I didn't know that until I met you. So
Well, and also, Sarah, you're just so smart. You are so smart. So it's so cool when we started this conversation, you talked about, being able to go and be in front of people and talk about the importance of mentorship and um why that is needed, you
yeah.
know, to make the world a more accessible, inclusive, accepting space.
Hmm.
And I think, from way back 15 years ago, almost 15 years ago, when you were a tra la la mom and, you were like, I mean, momming is hard, but I still do things.
Yeah.
To, Mary Elizabeth took you to a place in momming that you were like, I don't have the skills for this.
Right.
I'm going to have to learn on the job how to care for this darling gift that I've
Hmm.
been given. She's hard, but man, do I love her.
Yeah.
Um, but then now you're at a place, and I wouldn't say that, any of us at any stage of this would be lying if we said, we've got it all figured out, and now we can just proceed on with all the same dreams. Like
Living the dream. Yeah.
that is ridiculous to even think that. But um, I think you're at a place now where you're like, oh, I'm myself.
Yeah.
I'm my new self, you
Yeah.
um,
That's
and
so
so
true.
like the parts of you that you're like, I know things,
Hmm.
just poo and throw up. Um, I think I see like confidence building in you, in this space. And just like you hustle for Mary Elizabeth, I think you're hustling for other people to feel that coming back into who they really are. Yes, we are moms,
Hmm.
but there's also, and we do care for other people, but to remind us all, like, we are just people. We are just women. We are just people that need other people, you know?
100%. And for me, it was a remembering of who I was or who I am. it was a remembering. And I think that, life will throw so many things at us, um, that by the time we get to adulthood, in my case, middle age, we've forgotten who we are. And so I've been going through a process of remembering. And Mary Elizabeth has, I mean, it's been a fiery path, but I am fiery. And so I'm remembering that. Like, it's like it's been bizarre and also amazing. Um this growth and the way that I have kind of changed. Uh but really it's kind of like I'm just remembering who I was and being that person and that woman, and not just Mary Elizabeth's mom or Ben's mom. And so I think all moms go through that, but we're we're put through the fire with it. So yeah.
Yeah, I think just having a kid with a disability with the needs that our kids have, it just ratchets up the mom thing. And I think you and I both know a lot. We see people with typically developing neurotypical kids that lose their self in their momming. They do. They lose their self in their momming. And um, I think with our kids, it is just a constant day to day barrage of needs that have to be fulfilled. Physical needs that a mom with a kid that's 23 years old and almost 15 years old does not have to fill. And so that loss of who you are can happen pretty
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah, and one of the things I've thought about, we'll just keep going with this because this is good stuff. When you have a child who does need so much all the time, and I'm thinking about our girls, right? Because we're doing everything for them.
Mhm.
It's hard, like you're gonna be one. Like Mary Elizabeth and I are one, but also we're two separate people. And I don't know how to explain that other than to you, right? No one else gets that. I mean, I guess, I mean, it's not like romantic love where you're one. It's something very different. And so I don't know if you feel that way sometimes, but it's like, we as moms have to think about our own needs and take care of ourselves. And yet, it's always like I can never just think of me. I'm always thinking of me and Mary Elizabeth, or usually it's Mary Elizabeth and me. Um, and sometimes, like, it's just one that I'm thinking about, but it's both of us. It's so bizarre. Yeah, like, do you know
Yeah, I
what I'm
think
trying to
that
say? Like,
no, I do. And I think because our girls are so dependent on us when we make choices about whatever, a doctor, like let's just take for instance a doctor. I want the best the most knowledgeable
mhm,
and um the doctor who's done whatever I need for Anna the most times, because we all know that repetition um, means probably skilled. I don't want just someone that knows how to do something. I want someone who's skilled at it.
right.
And I also want someone that will speak to her in a way that they understand, that she knows that they understand, because she does. She
Right.
absolutely understands.
Mhm.
And the thing is, we're both going into this appointment. We're both choosing, I have to really think through that because it's an experience for her medically, and I want it to be as positive as possible.
Yeah.
And I coach her up before we go see a new doctor. And we have a whole discussion about, she communicates a lot through eye blinks and she communicates, through her facial expressions. And I'm like, okay, when the doctor asks you a question, show me what you're going to say whenever you want to say yes to something. And she will do this. And when you don't want something, show me when you want to say no. And it's a look away. There's no response, And I said, and we have to like coach that doctor into understanding, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that you're talking to her. She is 23 years old. She understands a lot of what you've been saying because she's been doing this a long time. So,
Yeah.
our experience together when we're choosing a medical professional to be in her life or a part of our family's life,
Right.
I mean, that's where you're talking about, like that oneness of, okay, I understand her better than anybody else. How do we choose a
Yeah.
doctor that's going to be a part of our team? Because
Yeah.
that is a very, very special team that you get to be on. And if you,
Right. That's how I feel about it too. I feel like it's a privilege. At this point, if you're in our orbit, you're lucky. I believe that 100%. Like you are better for it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so what you're talking about with that, like being able to do that, being able to, your life is separate, but it's also you like I call Anna my forever child, because most children grow up and they
Yeah.
leave the nest and
Mhm.
they go and maybe they'll go to college, maybe they'll go to trade school, maybe they'll go and they'll enter into the work world and they go and they start to, have their own independence. And our girls are not going to be experiencing that. And
Right.
so their dependence on us, um, I don't take that lightly. Like I just, again, that empathy that I would want to have as a mentor for a new mom coming into this space, which seems so scary at first. And you're like, I don't want this. I don't
Yeah.
want to be here.
Not
I
a
don't
club
care
of
how nice you are. I don't want
right.
to be here.
That's right. That's right.
Mm-mm. This is not what I signed up for when I
Yeah.
got the positive pregnancy test.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, no, like
Yeah.
I think there's a huge grief that happens then. But all of that to say the empathy that we have for those moms going through that, I think that's the kind of empathy that we have, for our girls to
Yeah.
think, to because I always consider that Anna understands all of that. I know she would love to be in college right now or living on her own in an apartment with a
Yeah.
roommate or, you know, pursuing a career or whatever that is. And my heart breaks.
Yeah.
My heart
Yeah.
breaks. So anybody that I allow to enter into her life is also entering into my life.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah. And it's our job as the mamas to make sure those are the right people. Yeah. Yeah. And you have taught me, as Mary Elizabeth gets older, I think I was kind of just morphing us into the same, right? But you have taught me, she is her own individual, unique person, which I knew that already. But you gave me some skills and some wording and some tactics or ideas on how to do that more, to give her more independence and more uniqueness, her authentic self. And for the longest time, I was dressing Mary Elizabeth in clothes that I liked, and I was giving her music that I liked or that I thought she would like or I thought was appropriate for a kid her age or whatever. And I have learned, thanks to your, nudging, that no, girl's different than me. She's very different. She has very different taste. And I love that. I didn't know that. And so I love that about her. And I feel like maybe she's like even more like she's like feeling herself these days because she's a teenager. So she like very much is her own self. But what I noticed the other day, Paige, And what I just loved is that I think that she is also noticing me and how much I'm trying. And she is giving me sympathy smiles or sympathy, like, hey, mom, it's okay. Like, so I'll see like her be like, yeah, okay. And like roll her eyes at Brittany, like my mom is so embarrassing, but like she's all, but she gives me like, she's like, great mom, good job. Over to her friends, isn't my mom crazy? Like she, and so I've noticed that just in the last 6 months or so. And man, I love that. It makes me so happy. I'm like, ah, that girl. Yeah. So
I'm so grateful that you're experiencing that. I
yeah,
am. I
me
am.
too.
And it also shows you, I mean, I know that sometimes we think, because the damage in their brains is it's leaves us in a skeptical place. I feel like a lot of times when we're like, okay, um, are they going to understand this? Are we going to be able to connect with that? And so that gift of that connection and that recognizing, I mean, it's everything. It is everything. And sometimes I felt like in the past, I was too obsessed with the medical part. I was too obsessed with, am I doing all of the physical things? And I did not make space to um ugh, see her as a person
Yeah.
and know that we could have that relationship because the caring just was so much.
Yes.
And then being able, and I think also who we allow our kids to be friends with and who we put into their lives, when we can step back and see them connecting with other people, I think that that is huge, for us to be able to see, oh, look at how she is smiling and glows up when she's around so and so.
Right.
What is that? Like, it allows us to see that and to see our girls in a way that maybe we never thought we could.
Yeah, no, totally. I never, right. Yeah. I never thought that she would have so much of herself to give. Yeah. I never thought that. And I'm so grateful for it. Yeah. And yeah, and I'm grateful for her seeing me too and saying, hey, mom, I see that. You're trying real hard. It's not right, but you're trying real hard. So,
Does she laugh at you when you cry?
yes, she laughs at me when I cry. Anytime.
Anna, same.
Yes. And as I always thought, like for the longest time, I'm like, oh, it's just an inappropriate reaction or response, but no, 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 it's on purpose.
No.
And I think we've talked about this before. I think that Mary Elizabeth would be a bit mean girlish if she were neurotypical. Like she'd be the girl, like she'd be that girl. And so, and I love it. I want it. I'm like, please, as much spiciness as you have to offer. But yeah, she definitely laughs at me. But only recently has she started like get like throwing me a bone, because like for the last year or two since she turned 13, she has delighted in my misery. It doesn't matter, like it doesn't matter what it's for,
Yeah.
whether it was caused by her or something outside.
Yeah.
She's like, my
Yeah.
mom's all messed up. This is awesome. Um, but only in the last 6 months or so is she kind of like, oh, mom, I see that. Well done. And also rolling her eyes at me too. But like she really is like, she is only starting to like give me some positive reinforcement back, and that's her choice. And it's like that's the other part is I love that because I'm like seeing this human develop and grow the same way Benjamin has developed and grown. I'm seeing depth, I'm seeing compassion, I'm seeing empathy, I'm seeing awareness, and consideration, which I would have never, like I didn't know that I would get that from her. And so, yeah, I'm
And in a
super.
lot of ways, I mean, I don't know how much you're around typically developing almost 15-year-old girls. That is totally typical. What
Oh,
what Mary Elizabeth is doing is, she's starting to realize that there's a world outside of just her. And,
Yeah.
you know, and sometimes that is that doesn't happen,
Yeah.
depending on what kind of world the kid is in. But I felt like when I taught high school, the time between freshman and sophomore year, something happens to kids and they
Mhm.
start to realize, oh, there is a world outside of me, 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 me. And what happens is they are like, "Oh, I have a car. I need a job to be able to pay for that gas. I wanna go on dates, or I wanna be able to go and hang out with my friends, and I don't wanna ask my parents for money every time because, ooh, that feels, like, little kiddish. Like, I wanna be a big kid. I wanna, like, start, having some things that are mine." And
Yeah.
so, I think that what you're experiencing, emotionally with her is a little bit typical, if we could say that.
Yay! We'll
I
take
know.
typical. Woohoo!
Win-win.
I'm winning. We're both winning. Yes, I love it. We know I like to win. Oh my gosh. I
I
will
love
say
it.
we've talked about this. I think I talked about it with my friend Kelly, but this life, having a kid like Mary Elizabeth or Anna, for the mamas that were type A, aggressive, wanting to win, competitive, people pleasing, perfectionist, it hits us the hardest, I think, So any win we can get. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, my friend, I am gonna go. I have homework to do.
Thank you. Thank you. This was amazing. Yes.
Okay, I love you.
Love you too. Bye.